Welcome to the TPC Desktop Getting Started video series. In this video, we're going to look at entering record data. So data off of a deed or a tax lot map or an original plat, wherever we have that original information. So let's talk about how we do that on the TPC Desktop here. Remember in the last video, we started a new survey, 2015-117, and we opened up the drawing view. And let's come over now and look at one of these managers we talked about. This is the Traverse Manager, and I'll just pin it here for a moment. So the Traverse Manager lists all the traverses in the survey, and we're going to enter this deed or this record data as a traverse. So I'm just going to come over and double click a blank line. Traverse PC displays a new traverse dialog box. Let's go ahead and call this deed data. And there's a couple of things I want to set here while we're doing this. I want to take a look at what we call the traverse view format and the traverse drawing settings here. I'm going to set this to deed with curves. And if we look at the settings here real quick, we can see that this tells Traverse PC that we want to include bearing, horizontal distance, here's some curve data, radius, arc length, coordinates, and a description. We're going to talk about this edit sequence in a minute, and this just says this is where I want the cursor to go each time I press the enter key. So I'm happy with that format. Then let's set the traverse drawing settings to property lines. And if we take a look at those settings real quickly, we see that we are going to draw a solid line. We're going to annotate above and below the line for bearing and distance. We're going to draw the point labels with a symbol, trim the symbols out of the line. So we've got kind of what we want here as well. So I'm going to see this dialog box one time only when I start a new traverse. I can set what I want to set here, but I can also change these anytime later. So let's go ahead and choose OK, and Traverse PC will create the traverse for us. And I'm going to switch this just to a single line per point and stretch this out so we get the full width of each of the columns. And here's the traverse we just asked Traverse PC to create. Traverse view, deed data, reminding us that we have our survey set for grid bearing, grid distance, and we're working in survey units of feet. So let's go ahead and enter some data here. We see that Traverse PC has started with point 1. It uses automatic point numbering, so that's just the first available number. I'm going to arrow over to the coordinates, and I'm going to type in 10,000, 10,000. If I were starting on a coordinate reference system, I might start with latitude and longitude here. In this case, I'm just working on a local grid, so I'm going to start with 10,000, 10,000. Traverse PC doesn't care what you start with. You can start with 0, 0, 5,000, 5,000. Use the conventions that you're most familiar with. And let's go ahead and put in a description. I want to say I found 1-inch iron pipe. I'm going to press the enter key, and Traverse PC says I've got all the information I need for that starting point or that first point, so it drops me down to the next point. And I'm in the grid bearing column. I can certainly expand these out a little bit, and I can see there's the whole word grid bearing. But I'm just going to start entering a bearing. Now I want to go north 90 east. If I haven't done this before or used Traverse PC before, I can press F1 and Traverse PC will bring up help for the context that I'm in. And in this case, I see that I'm in the Traverse view, so Traverse PC brought up information on the Traverse view for me. Let's look around in the help just a moment, and I see quite a bit of information about how the view is formatted. And then I want to click on this link down here that says entering traverse data, and in particular entering bearings. And I see that you enter bearings using the quadrant number and then the bearing, where 1 is northeast, 2 is southeast, and then we put a period after the degrees, type the minutes and seconds, and it gives us an example here. So let's close out this help, and let's type in our bearing of north 90 east. So northeast is a 1, we put in the bearing, and if there's no minutes or seconds, I just press enter. Traverse PC replaces that with north 90 degrees, 0 minutes, 0 seconds east. Now I put in my distance and press enter. Traverse PC took me to the radius and arc length because that's what I told it to do in the edit sequence. I said enter bearing, distance, radius, arc length, and then drop down to the next point. So if I don't want to enter curve data here, I just press enter till I get to the next point, and I'm ready for my next course. This one is north 2327 east. That would be a 123.27, and I want to go 163.5. Okay. Now I want you to notice that as I'm entering the data in the Traverse view, Traverse PC has started to draw that for me in the drawing view. This is really, really handy. I can see what I'm entering in the Traverse view, so I can watch the numbers and make sure I'm entering those right, but I can also see the drawing of it and make sure that I'm going the right direction and the right amount. Again, let's just press enter to get through that. Let's enter the next course, which is southwest 90. So southwest would be a 390. I'm going to go 291.03. Okay, so we're back to the west. Enter, enter. And I'm doing all the number entry on my keypad. So entering the period, the enter, the quadrant, I can do all that on the keypad without having to switch over to the keyboard itself. And I'm just using my right hand for all of that. Just makes it real easy to enter data. Okay, now we want to go southwest 30 degrees 40 minutes. So again, southwest is 330.4. I don't need to enter 0 seconds. I can just enter the 40 for the minutes there. That's good enough. Let's go 14.08. Enter, enter. Now my last point is going to be to close out this lot, and I want to use a unique point label. I can rename this 1:1. I can leave it as 6. It really doesn't matter. I like to use 1:1 because it reminds me that that's the same as 0.1, but it's a unique position for it, so I can check the closure here. And let's go ahead and put in this final course, which is southwest 203410. So 20 3410, and I want to go 147.27 feet. Now, I do have a radius now, and I'm going to put in minus 420. The minus tells Traverse PC that when I'm sitting at the PC looking forward to the PT, I want to go counterclockwise. That's what the minus does. If I had said positive, I would have gone clockwise. And I want to show you that here real quickly. So let's go ahead and drop in here. Just zoom that up so we can see it a little bit more closely. And let's say that we had accidentally put in 420. So let's watch what happens. So I've got a curve that's going the wrong way. And this is what's so nice about having that drawing for me while I'm entering the data. Because I'm typing away and I say, look back at the drawing and go, oh, that's going the wrong direction. Well, Traverse PC allows me simply to type over the number and put that curve the right way. And we think that's really the benefit of seeing all of your data all the time. If I expand this Traverse view out just a little more, here's all the data I entered for this, and I can go back and correct any numbers I entered incorrectly until the drawing looks right. I check my numbers and my numbers are all correct, and then I've got the information added the way I wanted. Now, I want to show you one more thing about this curve. We formatted the Traverse view just to show radius and arc length. I'm going to click this Format View button here. I certainly could have included additional information about this. Let's say I wanted to have the delta in here, which is the letter Q. So I can say OK, and I now have a delta. I entered the radius, but Traverse PC computed the arc length and delta based on the chord information that I put in here. I'll expand it out a little bit more here for you. If I want more information about the curve, I can highlight the PT and choose Kogo horizontal curve. So it's in the Kogo menu. It's the horizontal curve command. If I didn't want to come through the menu, I could just type Control H, which is the hotkey. That brings up a curve dialog box that has all that same information for me, plus the rest of the information computed for this curve. And I get a dialog box similar to this for spirals as well. And I just want you to notice real quick, this is probably the most complicated Kogo dialog box that is in Traverse PC. Well, we try to simplify it by saying, we're going to highlight in blue the information you entered. So I entered a radius, I had a PC and PT, which gave me a chord length. Everything not in blue is computed. So here's all my middle ordinate, my external, my tangent, my arc length, all those things got computed from the information I entered. And I can simply hit the summary button, get a printout of all that, or all those same numbers are available back here in the traverse view. And I just want you to see how easy it is for me then to sit down with a deed, a plat, a tax lot, whatever information I have that gives me the courses in this lot, and get those entered into Traverse PC in a Traverse. And I've got just a great way to check my data visually as I enter it.